Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading for July 29th through August 4th, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And Seven of Swords. I think you're the kind of person that, I think you're very introspective, I think you're very aware of the thoughts. They say some people don't really have an internal monologue. They don't really talk to themselves. I feel like you really do. I feel like you have a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of conversations, deliberations, a lot of even debates with yourself, in a way that is, you're really aware of that. I think that, Cancer, you need a lot of time to sit and think. You need time for reflection. You need time to kind of settle down in your mind, get into your easy chair with yourself and start a conversation, especially now where it feels like there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. I feel that you've been on a particular path in life. You've been doing something consistently, but I wonder if there's now just some ideas, different ideas. I wonder if we're entertaining some other thoughts, right? It feels like there's a couple of ideas, going on in your mind right now that we're just saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a think about it. I don't know if your life is really all that conducive to you sitting down and thinking, but with the Seven of Swords, I feel like there's some things we need to figure out. Okay, could be that maybe we're being called to a different path. Could be that we are experiencing some doubts, some criticisms, maybe from inside, maybe from outside, right? And we're seeing that there are a lot of kind of options now. It's almost as if, some other paths might be revealing themselves to you, and we really need some time for that introspection. Okay, you're a very thoughtful person. You're very full of thoughts. It's important that we have a chance to sit down and organize those thoughts. I feel like you're someone that does a lot of writing, but it's not just kind of chaotic stream of consciousness, just kind of frantically filling up a notebook. I feel like you make charts and graphs. You like to organize things into columns and do all this kind of really well thought out, well planned and organized sort of data dumps, brain dumps, So maybe you do like the bullet journaling kind of thing, or maybe you have a very organized way that you try to do, your journaling and that sort of thing. But I don't know that you've really been doing it much lately. Okay, let's see where this energy is going. Let's see what's happening here. I got the Lover's card. Now, the Lover's card doesn't mean romance necessarily. It may, on the very surface of things, be you're having some second thoughts about your relationship or a relationship. Maybe romantic, yeah. Maybe platonic, maybe a friendship, maybe a work relationship, maybe a divine relationship, maybe a relationship with self. Okay? But it feels like your quest right now, or this week, kind of the objective is, we got to figure out where we really feel the most inspiration. And we're going to sit down and do the thoughtfulness. We're going to be organized. We're going to reflect. We're going to try to organize our thoughts and have this conversation with ourselves, But it really is about feeling which way is feels the most pure to you. Okay? Because this card's about choice. This card is about really falling in love with something and committing to it, and only it, or them, maybe a person, right? This is the one. This is you figuring out which one is the one. Not in so much of an intellectual way, pros and cons, trying to figure it out, but something deeper than that. Something that hopefully is born from that kind of reflection. That inner sort of experience and sitting with something. It feels more, well, and this card even shows, it feels more like a lunar influence. We see the crescent moon up at the top. Rather than it being kind of a conscious, okay, I'm going to sit here and get all the paperwork out and I'm going to read through everything and I'm going to logically pick the best one, rather than that kind of solar consciousness, active conscious mind sort of thing. It's more of a lunar, subtle, psychic. I'm going to feel which one is the right one. Which one do you feel inspired by? I feel like you have a lot of choices in front of you right now. Or we're beginning to ask ourselves this question: is the path we're on the path with heart? The path that you are in love with, the path that you are inspired to commit to. Right? The commitment of the Lover's card. The Three of Wands underneath everything. It's a search for identity, for one thing. Because the Three of Wands is you trying to figure out what your identity is, really. But I think with anything that you commit to, I think you have a tendency to really, truly identify with it. Okay? It's sort of as if we are projecting our identity onto the thing that we are committed to. Let's say you're in a committed romantic relationship. I feel like you tend to kind of identify with your partner in the sense that they're kind of an external representation of you, and that has sort of good things and bad things about it, right? Because then we're projecting all of our kind of shadow qualities onto the other person, but then we're also identifying with that kind of shadow side that we see in the other person. It's almost like everything that you don't like about the other person or the job or the commitment, everything you don't like about that are things that you really don't want to be, right? So we're on this search for a more authentic identity, and I feel like you want to commit yourself to a life, to a path, to a person, to a job, career, an idea, a field of study, a work, whatever it is, a purpose, You want to commit yourself to something that you will be happy to say, that is a visual representation of the way I see myself, or the purest representation I can get of what I am. Okay? And, I think in some ways this is what they might call a diffuse ego boundary, where we tend to sort of forget where we stop and where the other thing begins. Okay? Which is not always a bad thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing at all, but it has its challenges. Okay? So I think we're trying to find the right thing that we want to identify with. And it could be that in your life you've gone through a few different things. If it's, career choices. If it's maybe relationships. If it's almost feel like persona, I almost feel as if you're kind of you're an actor and you're trying on different roles to see which role you want to really be, to see which costume sort of fits the best. And I like that one. I'm going to keep that one. Let's see what's going on behind the scenes here. The World card. The world is your stage, right? The Universe card. I feel like in your life you've been on a search, okay, to discover who you really are, why you're here, where you belong, where you fit in. This card sometimes makes me feel like the universe is a cold and lonely, a vast, infinite expanse of nothingness, right? And very cold and lonely. And it's kind of like we're trying to find our cozy little corner. We're trying to find out who we are and where we're going to fit in and build our life and find that little Goldilocks zone of the universe where life can grow, where we are going to fit in and it's going to feel right and everything's going to be perfect, like a fairy tale ending. Yeah. It's a lot of searching. Space is very, very, wide open. There's a lot of corners to look at. So I feel like this is really kind of an existential thing for you, trying to find the path that you can really identify with in the way that you want to, and the one that feels right, the one that feels inspiring. And I feel like we've been on this search for a while. I feel like you've gone through many things. I feel like you're somebody who has had a lot of different sorts of jobs, and not all the same thing either. Like a lot of very different types of, jobs or career choices. Maybe you've been through a lot of different courses of study in university or even just in your personal life. And maybe you've kind of, you've been through a few serious long-term relationships, trying to find the one where everything just fits together perfectly. Everything is just exactly right. I also feel that there's some issue with flying. I feel like you don't like flying, or somebody close to you really doesn't like flying. There's a fear of flying there somewhere, right? Next card, of course, is the star. Well, of course it is. We're on the search for the star. We want to find our star. We want to figure out who we are and why we're here. Those are the two questions that the star card will help you answer. And this is, of course, at the top of the path of the dove, because it's what we are looking for. It's what we want. It's what we're hoping for. It's what we've got our eye trained toward the sky. We're trained toward the heavens, and we're looking for this. And the star does two things. At first, the divine energy comes in, illuminates what's going on within you. Shows you, the Seven of Swords really shows you your thoughts, your different ideas, maybe contradictory ideas. It's not so much an indecisiveness, but it's really an inability to see who you are and why you're here, what you really want, So the first phase of the star energy is to illuminate inside who we are. Shows us where our blockages are, shows us our strengths, shows us our weaknesses. It's a very challenging thing, and it's the most important. And once we see that, once we get a clear idea of who we are and what work we might need to do, what karma we've got to untie, then some of this light, and we're totally empty and we are filled with light, this light begins to spill out onto the world around us. And it starts to show us what our path is. In every moment, you know the right path for you, because that direction will sparkle more than the others do. It's a difficult feeling to describe, and it may appear visually to you. Maybe that one choice just really sticks out like there's a neon sign on it. It could be something a little bit more subtle. Okay? It could be that you just feel a little tug on your heart toward a certain path and not the other one, right? So we're sort of led forward on our path. We're discovering who we are and why we're here. In every moment, it's an ongoing process. It's not just a one and done. It's not just, okay, enlightenment, good. Got that out of the way. Now what's next in life? Enlightenment or enlightening is an ongoing process. It's a verb, right? It's how we are aware of ourselves and our own divine light, and how we are using that divine light to figure out in every moment how to navigate our way forward. We're navigating by starlight, okay? And I also feel that you have this, you have a sense of self, but it might even be the idea that your self is very distant from you, the way a star is, it's Proxima Centauri, right? It's however many light years away. It just feels like it's way out there. What we want is a big ball of fire right here in front of us. We want to experience, not as just a kind of dim twinkling light out there in the sky, but we want it up close and personal. We want the sun card rather than the star card, right? So it may feel that your goals or your identification or your enlightening is still very far away. What we need, of course, is perfect. I was just going to say that. What we need is the high priestess. We need the ability to sit, like I said at the very beginning, to sit and reflect, using not the light of the conscious mind, but to use the lunar light, right? The subtle light. It's almost as if, during the day when the sun is out, you see everything plainly. It is what it is. You see the colors and the shapes, and there's no question. A dog is a dog, a cat is a cat, it's whatever. But in the moonlight, everything looks different, right? In the moonlight, we sort of experience our projections. We experience something more subtle. We experience more of our unconscious, more of who we really are on the inside, rather than what our conscious mind is sort of saying, okay, that's a dog over there, or that's an upturned mop with a bucket on its head, whereas in the lunar light, we may see the monsters, we may see a personification of some shadow aspect of ourselves. Now, the mop with the bucket on its head is actually a sort of a anthropomorphized, complex or something, right? So we project these unconscious contents in this lunar light. It gives us an option to experience things in a different way. That's the high priestess, giving us the ability to reflect and to almost to contemplate, but to sit and have that kind of inner experience with ourselves where we can see ourselves in a different way. Okay, it's the realm of dreams. It's the realm of daydreams and fantasies. It's the realm of the unconscious, right? And this is the waxing moon. I look at the high priestess as the waxing moon. It's the widening of the lunar aperture. It's letting in more and more of this moonlight. It's not the moon card, which to me is a waning moon. It's a darkening. And then it's just black. Then we don't see anything. And then when we close our eyes, it's just nothing. But with the high priestess, the aperture is widening. More of that psychic light is coming in. And it's showing us a lot of what's going on here. Okay? And it is a reflection of the sunlight, right? I mean, it's a reflection of that kind of starry spiritual light. And that's exactly what we need. We need time to sit and really reflect on our lives and where we are. Not in the logical, intellectual way, but in this lunar, psychic way. We need to have visions. We need to have dreams. We need to have daydreams and fantasies. And we need to allow that to show us what the next move needs to be. Okay? I feel like the universe is really calling you here. I feel like you're being called. The universe is trying to show you something that is inspiring to you, something that you will wish to identify with, something that is part of your destiny, but you have to close your eyes and find it. Okay, your new adventure. And the universe is calling. The universe has your back. The universe is trying to push you forward toward this self-discovery. Let's select the mystery card here. This is the random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here and put Frankenduck right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us our confirmation. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. And it does support the channel, and I really do appreciate that. Let's check in with your general energy now with the path of the serpent. We've got the Art or Temperance card. The Art or Temperance card is us trying to figure out where our internal imbalances are. It's kind of like we've been experimenting with who we are, with what we want, with maybe even with different attitudes, different costumes, right? The persona. We've been trying to find the right mixture of everything. And in some ways, I look at the Art card as us taking all of our experiences, all of the people you've ever met, all of the dreams you've ever had, all of the experiences you've ever had, and understanding how each one of those is a little piece of who you are. Okay? Because then we're in this weird place where it's like, I didn't come into this world with a fully formed being, right? Like with a fully formed soul, so to speak. That over time we gather memories, we gather energy, we gather little soul particles from every experience that we have. And that goes into building up at least our human character. There are deeper parts of the soul that are untouched by the human experience, right? That are just so close to the divine that they're more pure, you could say, I guess. In the tarot, we could say that's any card from 4 to 10, right? The 1, the ace, the 2, the 3 are so close to spirit that they're rather untouched by the human experience, okay? They're on the other side of the great abyss. But we realize that we are a little part of everything that we've ever done, experienced, even indirectly. That we are all a reflection of the universe itself. Okay? Just in different configurations because we have different experiences and, we're all unique in that way, but we're all the same. Okay? And so really this is your idea of trying to take the best parts of everything that you've ever been, everyone that you've ever encountered or experienced or interacted with, and how all these things are going to kind of build up your picture, your identity of who you are. And that's why this card, I think, is down here with the 3 of Wands at the bottom. And so maybe we're really trying to figure out who we are. Trying to figure out what is my unique soul, right? And see, some of these things that we take in from others, these aren't always things that we want either, okay? We take on attitudes, opinions, mannerisms, even tendencies and habits and things from other people that we then kind of realize, oh man, I that's not who I want to be. That's not the type of person I want to be, right? But we have to realize that even mostly probably on an unconscious level, we're taking in everything that anyone has ever thought or said, that we're all tapped into those, to the astral or to the Akashic records or whatever you want to call it. And we are all everything. We have to pick and choose who we want to be. We have to pick and choose what habits of thought and feeling and behavior we want to focus on and strengthen. But we have to be able to let this light in to see everything that we are, so we kind of know where the work is. We know which qualities to strengthen and enhance, and which qualities we kind of want to get control over and either root out completely or turn them into positive qualities, right? For some reason, this reminds me of Benjamin Franklin. He did that. He had a diary or whatever where he would work on all of these positive personality traits and all these virtues, right? And every week or whatever, you'd kind of focus on a new one, And I can kind of see you doing that with your journal and making little charts and things. But let's go to the next card in the position of the environment, 8 of Swords. See, the 7 of Swords becomes an 8 of Swords. Our self-criticism becomes an overanalysis, and that leads to inaction. Okay? That leads to confusion. There's an overwhelming amount of data that we can no longer see the needle, right? The needle in the haystack. It could be that you've kept your eye on that needle in the haystack, but the more hay gets piled up, there comes a point where you're like, I can't see it anymore. I'm totally lost. I have no idea where it is. It's like the ball in the cups and somebody's moving the cups around. You're trying to follow it. At some point, you're just, I can't. I don't know where it is, right? And so then anything we do from this point on is just a guess. It's kind of like, I'm just going to pick door number 1. I don't know why, And we realize that's what the mind is going to do. This is a very normal card. This is how probably 99% of us experience our life. Just so many thoughts, so much data, so many choices, so much mental stimuli that we kind of forgot what we were even looking for. You ever go to the store and you walk into the store thinking, I need to go and I just need to buy bread. That's it. You go into the store and pretty soon you're wandering around the store thinking, what did I need again? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That happens to me sometimes, especially in like electronic stores or something like that. I'm all into the gadgets and stuff. I love that thing. But this is kind of how we experience life. And especially when we sit down and we try to think about things. And we try to stay on a certain train of thought. And we try to be organized in our mind. And That's why a lot of us do journals. A lot of us keep files and we keep organized because our minds are not usually, there are ways to train the mind, but we're not born into this world knowing how to organize our mind in that way. So we're taught the reliance on these external systems. Like my wife and I, we need a calendar on our phone to tell us what we're supposed to do every day because it's just gotten so busy. There's so much going on in our heads. There's no way I could keep track of, everything that needs to be done in a day, right? But there are ways to train the mind anyway. But I feel like this is really this is the typical state in which we are experiencing the world. It's just one of a lot of swirling thoughts, a lot of data. What we need is to get out of the conscious mind. We need to invoke this starry, lunar energy and really reflect and meditate and contemplate and dream our way forward in that more subtle, psychic, lunar, unconscious way rather than the solar, conscious, and intellectual way, right? The obstacle, of course, a 10 of Wands here. Exhaustion, for one thing. The obstacle is, I think the obstacle is really the fact that you've been traveling through this life a long time. Now, maybe you're only 20 years old, I don't know. It feels like a long time. You feel like an old soul. It feels as if you've been back here many times to learn these lessons and figure these things out. And I feel as if, I'm sure you've heard that before. Someone in your life has said, you seem like an old soul, right? And I feel that too. And I think it's true. I think that in a way we're kind of getting wearied of the same old kind of things. And we're just sort of asking ourselves, like, what is this lesson that I'm supposed to learn? What am I supposed to figure out? What is the right destiny, commitment, and identity and all this stuff? What is the right recipe for my soul right now that's going to just kind of make everything click like a lock, where all the tumblers just kind of fall together and everything falls into place. That unlocks my destiny, unlocks my future, frees my soul, especially from this kind of mental, intellectual prison of sorts, okay? And part of the 10 of Wands, too, I've got to say, is a certain codependency, okay? It's almost as if part of the obstacle here is us committing to something because we need something, because we need that commitment, we need that other thing, because that helps us in our own self-identification, helps us feel as if I am something unique and different, that I do have some sort of identity in the midst of all this, vacant, vast energy. So we tend to get into combinations with other things, even with, let's say, a sports team or a TV show or music stuff, or other people or groups of people or religious institutions, financial institutions, anything in life. That we identify with those things and we take on those qualities because, okay, now there's strength in numbers, right? I'm not really a sports person. I don't think you are either, but that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like somebody who is so attached to their sports team, that's their identity now. And I envy those people, because they have that sense of connectedness. Now, it is a codependency because when the sports team's not doing well, that person's going to be pretty angry, pissed off, sad, depressed, right? When the team's doing very, very well, that person is very cheerful, very active, very happy, right? Very successful. And I've got nothing against sports. I love sports. I don't watch them very often, but, I love watching a little bit of baseball, football here and there, Anyway, I like playing sports more than watching them, I guess. Really because I don't have a lot of time to just unwind and relax and watch TV. So maybe if I did, I'd watch more sports. But anyway, 10 of Wands, what's coming next here? This video is getting a little bit long. Hanged Man. Hanged Man is us letting go of everything that we thought we knew about ourselves. Allowing this star energy to really strip us down to the bare essentials, the Holy Trinity of Spirit within you, the 3 of Wands. That's what it's all about. This is kind of that part that's untouched by the human experience, right? I said the aces, the 2s, and the 3s are so close to Spirit, they're on the other side of the abyss, right? So this is your pure spiritual identity. And in a way, this spiritual energy is the same in everybody. Right? This is sort of the divine spark in everybody. And it's identical. And it's untouched by the human experience. And so part of the work is for us to strip away everything that we thought we were in order to perceive this clearly. And really it's a mystical experience. Right? To get as close to this experience as we can, and then in some ways this is very much in line with the star energy. It's guiding us. It's guiding us to those choices in life that build up kind of that build up our soul in a new way. So really we have to kind of lose ourselves before we gain ourselves. The Hanged Man, I think, is really that idea of letting go of everything that we are identifying with. Everything that we assume is part of ourselves, or that's who I am, you know. In some ways we're letting go of everything. My job, my family, my career, my hobbies, my interests, my relationships. You are not any of those things, right? So it's kind of it's a mystical exercise, really, but letting go of all of those identities to get down to this pure identity. And I think Spirit has a new kind of adventure for you, and I think the universe really is calling you to take on this work, to find that essential part of yourself, right? To realize the light within so that you can find what your adventure is supposed to be. Because again, I feel that fundamentally there's some sort of almost a dissatisfaction in your current commitments, your current identity, whether it's a romantic relationship, a work thing, family thing, if it's your friends, if it's your religious affiliations or whatever. I feel like your mind is starting to kind of think in different directions, and we're not sure what to make of that. Okay? There is indeed no water energy in this. So I feel like we're not really sure how we feel about the things that we're committed to, the things that we are identified with. Just not sure how I feel about anything anymore. Right? Let's look at the mystery card. Obviously, I want some water energy, but I feel like this is going to be something very pure. I think it's going to be an ace or a 2 or a 3. I think it's going to be the Chariot card, or it is going to be the Fool, right? Something very pure, something that's not identified with anything. The Fool would be really nice. Let's see what we have. We got an 8 of Cups. All right. The 8 of Cups is, well, it shows the Hermit walking away from all these cups, walking away from the pleasant or unpleasant cups of life, walking away from the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Cups. Okay, and this means that we are trying to get past the idea of pleasure and pain, good or bad. What do I like? Because the things that I like, those are the things I want to identify with. The things I don't like, those are the things that I'm not going to identify with. Right? So we're very much moved by what feels good and what doesn't feel good. The Hermit is trying to get past that, to transcend, and that's probably why there's no water here, to transcend just my simple attractions and aversions in life. So it could be that we are spiritually, maybe mentally, in this period of reflection, well, with the High Priestess energy, to find this time to reflect, to sit down quietly, close your eyes, reflect. In those moments, we're walking away from everything. We're disidentifying with that part of us that likes and dislikes things. Because that's biased. I mean, that's the essence of bias, right? So we're getting to that pure state. And so really it's a matter of walking away from everything as an exercise in this moment of meditation, to try to find what is beyond those. What is that pure part of yourself that can give you the guidance toward the future, what your new adventure is. Maybe it's the same adventure, right? We're walking away, and there's nothing wrong with these things. The hermit is walking away from both pleasure and pain, walking away from the city itself, going alone into the woods to meditate, walking away from everything that's good and everything that's bad in life, right? In the relative way. But they're not knocking these cups over. These cups aren't spilled and smashed and I hate them and I don't want them here. No, because the hermit's going to go back. And that's the point, right? We have to separate ourselves from everything in life, forget everything we thought we knew about ourselves, find that core part of ourselves, okay, and then go back into life, re-engage with life. So the hermit leaves these cups here because the hermit's coming back. The hermit is not smashing those cups, okay? It's going to go back to the world of likes and dislikes. I can like football and I can dislike, lima beans or something. Because that's part of our soul and we can't get rid of that, right? We are who we are, but we're looking for that deeper core experience that will allow us to re-enter the world of opposites, of duality, with a greater sense of self, a greater sense of identity, and a greater sense of our mission of where we're going in this life. Okay. Now we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Cancer are Tuesdays with bonus readings on Fridays. Be sure to watch both. All right. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free, does not cost anything. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.